So today I was walking around on the college campus today, and there's this spirit of offense that's come across people pertaining to the political election that's happening. And as Christians, normally we want nothing to do with it. But God's given man responsibility to take dominion over the earth, to subdue it. God's put all of these things within man's hand. And then he's given man his heart so man would choose what he would choose. And Jesus would say that whatever you ask in my name will be done for you because your heart would be one with his heart. I had some mindsets that I would run into or would see all across that I want to debunk today. I got 3 of them. This is going to be a part 1. We're going to make a part 2. So mindset number 1, it's I can be whatever I want. We all have free will. We all have the ability to be whatever we want and do whatever we want, but just because we do those things and because we identify with something and we call ourselves something, it does not mean that that's what we're meant to be. I don't know if I want to be Jamaican, but I was born American. I don't get to just decide that. What I'm born as is what I'll be. And so God, what he's done is he's made man in his image and his likeness. And so man was made to look like, to walk like, to think like, to be in unison, to be one with, and to be intimate with God. Anything outside of that, what it'll cause is things that God didn't cause for man to walk in. In other words, flaws, faults, malfunctions, depression, frustration, all this trash that man walks in today. It's not the will of God for your life. The will of God for your life is for you to look like what he's made you to be. You say, well, how do I figure that out? Giving yourself to him. Anything outside comes with its own flaws because you were made in the image of God. You ever notice that the image that man takes on, it exposes what the heart is searching for? 1 John 4:8, it says that God is love. And so every image that man takes on or tries to become or puts themselves into, it has to do with them trying to figure out what loves them, what makes them happy, what fulfills that longing in their soul to be loved. Every man needs to be loved. But no man can be fulfilled by the love of man. It has to come from God. Mindset number 2 is I belong to myself. Every man coming into this world desires to know what's beyond the skies. And that's because every man that comes into this world was made for God, was made to be in a relationship with God. Mindset number 3, and I'm going to touch on abortion here. One of the biggest arguments that I've been seeing pertaining to abortion is, what if a 10-year-old girl gets raped by her father and she ends up having a baby? And because abortion gets banned, because whoever's governing our country, she won't have a choice anymore to get rid of that baby because no 10-year-old should have that burden on her life. That's what we think today. I'd like to propose what God thinks. Psalms 139:13-14. For you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. If God knit me together in my mother's womb, while I'm being formed in there, he's putting me together. He's got a destiny for me, a legacy, a plan, a purpose, and an identity for me to walk out on this earth. Then it doesn't matter how I came into the world. It doesn't matter who wants me. It doesn't matter if they don't want me. It doesn't matter if the woman is 10 or if she's 30. What matters is that God wants me, that God formed me, and God has a plan for my life. And so the mistake that we make is allowing our experiences that we have to speak louder than the voice of God. God values his word above his name. His word should trump every experience, especially if you call yourself a believer. For that woman that does, and I'm sure there's one out there that did get raped at 10 years old by the father and ended up having a baby, no, that wasn't the will of God that you got raped. No, it's not the will of God how things happen. We see it all the time today. Some man looks at a woman lustfully, they have a one-night stand, she's pregnant, she has a baby. No, God didn't will for that man to walk in sin and them end up having a baby. But what God did will for is the baby. We were born to be made one with him. And so what the devil wants to do is take out all of those that have the opportunity to stomp on his kingdom. The reason Jesus manifested was to destroy the works of hell. There's no exception for anyone else.